The beautiful thing about it is, for God, and I want you to think about this, for God, every moment is a God moment. It's not a matter of getting God into our minutes. It's a matter of us getting ourselves into God's time. It's a matter of us moving ourselves into the realm and experience that we meet God in every situation. And that means when I get angry, I bring myself before the Father. And I say, okay, God, what is it? What is it that I need to reconcile in my life to bring myself back into harmony with your plan, to bring myself back under the dominion of your lordship? Because we serve the God who, according to Romans 8:28, works all things, say all things, not most things, not some things, not only the things we like, but all things, say all things, together for our good. He never works them for our ill. He never works them for the less than good. He works all things together for our good, for those who love him and are called according to his purpose. And it's not just a one-time call. It's hearing his voice in the everyday moments, in the everyday experience. Looking at things from God's perspective, looking at the possibilities, recognizing that when we see something and we classify it as evil, and again, I want us to think about this long and hard, because it's something that is part of that transformation process as we become sons and daughters of God. The Bible says, whatsoever things are good, whatsoever things are pleasant, if there be any virtue, think on what? These things. The great error and fall of mankind was when we chose to think both good and evil. And it's not just something that occurred 5,000 years ago with Adam. It's something that every one of us are challenged with today. Because in every situation, if you serve the God who's working everything for your good, then you have the ability to see the goodness of God in every moment. And you can be discontent if you choose to be, or you can find contentment in the moment and let the peace of God rule in your heart. You can choose to be discontent and upset. Or you can choose to say, all right, God, I'm going to find this situation. You know, I hadn't planned to tell this story, but I remember the story about, let me see if I can remember it, because that's always a challenge if I tell it wrong. But there was this little boy, and he was optimistic about everything. And so if he saw anything bad, he was optimistic about it. And his father happened to be a farmer, and his father thought, well, I'm going to teach him a lesson. And so he took him out to a barn where they had collected all the horse manure. And they put it in the barn. And he said, son, I want you to shovel out all this horse manure out of the barn. And the boy said, oh, Daddy, I'm glad I can do that. And he said, why would you be glad to do that? He said, because I know if there's this much manure, there must be a horse in there somewhere. Think about that perspective in our lives. If we could have that kind of hopefulness, how different would our lives be? How much of our lives comes into the reality of being because we chose and thought the worst? The heart of this message is this. Rather than look for the God moment, recognize that all time is God's time, and any time can be a God moment in our lives.